Does this scene look or sound familiar? If it does, your child may be suffering from low self-esteem, and I want you to watch this video because I want to teach you the link between self-talk, self-esteem, and self-control, and I want to teach you some healthy ways to help a child develop a stronger self-esteem. Your child's self-esteem is their idea of their self-worth. It's how much they feel loved by others, combined with how they think about themselves and their beliefs about how capable they are. Your self-esteem. My classmates don't like me as much as they do the other kids. Something must be wrong with me. My parents scold you, and to learn to be a good friend to yourself. I want to emphasize the use of teaching self-talk and inner language. This is vital to children developing the ability to have self-control. This is not a smart way to think, the extremist. If it's not perfect, it's horrible. Wish fish. I wish I didn't have to go to school tomorrow, but it's not horrible. It's not the end of the world. And at least I don't spend my whole life there. There's 5 factors that determine the intensity of our not okay feelings. First is the degree to which behavior is labeled as a moral issue. Like if low grades are treated as a sin rather than a sign that skills need to be taught, or a child is told over and over that they're making bad choices, that's treating their behavior as a moral issue rather than a skill to be taught, or looking at it as a child who has some needs that are not being met and their method of coping or meeting those needs is not effective and they need some instruction in how to do it the right way. The second factor is how much parents fail to separate behavior from identity. When they say you're a bad girl when you hit your sister, that's not separating the behavior from the identity of the person. That's telling someone that they're bad. The third factor is the frequency of forbidding gestures. Repeated phrases like, "What's the matter with you?" teach things like, "I'm not okay." But somewhere at my core, if anybody really knew me, they would learn that I'm not all right. The fourth factor is the consistency of the forbidding gestures. If you get in trouble sometimes for a behavior, but then other times it's allowed, often children learn that it's not the behavior that's bad, it must be them. Yeah, I think if you can make yourself available to your child, not 24/7, because that's not setting appropriate boundaries and that's being overly permissive, and that runs the risk of developing a child who is entitled or narcissistic and abusive of others. But if you can make yourself available and you can do a good job of reflecting back to them what you see that is beautiful about them, you know, if you can avoid avoiding your child by being a workaholic or by reading or using any of those protections that we talked about earlier, I think that you'll be giving them the resilience that they'll need to help prevent them from developing things like depression, anxiety, eating disorders, just low self-esteem, an identity that's centered around failure or victimhood. I think this is the best thing you can do to help your child to develop a success identity and to go out in the world and be able to get their needs met and show you what they're capable of.